I actually found this article that I'm just going to read out. I'm reading some of these out loud in videos because I realize A, some people do not have a New York Times subscription, and B, a lot of you have very low reading levels, so you actually could not read the article on your own and make it make sense. But if I speak it to you in this like conversational tone, maybe the information will relay without you actually having to comprehend for yourself. Reading comprehension is a thing. It's a problem in this country. Most people are reading at a 7th grade reading level, and it's a thing. Anyway, this is an opinion column by Gail Collins. Don't be fooled. It's all about women and sex. When I was back in high school, a Catholic girls' school in Cincinnati, at the beginning of the sexual revolution, our religion class covered the abortion issue in approximately 45 seconds. That's awful. Abortion is murder, and the priest who was giving the lesson before moving on to more controversial topics like necking and heavy petting. I still have a vivid memory of being marched into the auditorium for a lecture from a visiting cleric who assured us that when Jesus was dying on the cross, he was tortured by a vision of the sins of mankind, notably adolescent girls making out with boys in the backseat of a car. Now, that was a long time ago, and the bottom line was at least clear and consistent. No sex except for married couples who want to have babies. You don't hear that specific message too much in today's political debates about reproduction, but as a way of thinking, it's most definitely still there. On Wednesday, the Senate failed to pass a Democratic bill supporting women's rights to choose in anticipation of a Supreme Court decision going in the other direction. During the debate, Republicans claimed most Americans are opposed to late-term abortion, while Democrats noted that polls show the public wants abortion to be a matter between a woman and her doctor. Easy to imagine both being true. Most people are uncomfortable with the idea of ending a pregnancy when the fetus is well developed, but there has long been a deeply reasonable yearning to keep the government out of a matter so private and personal. It's pretty clear where we're going. The Supreme Court's Trump construction majority will reject the now long-standing understanding that a woman has the constitutional right to decide whether she wants to end a pregnancy. In at least 13 states, laws banning abortion could kick into place almost immediately. Welcome to the land of my high school religion classes, people. The governor of Mississippi, when asked whether the state should move on to ban a contraception, said rather unnervingly that it's not what we're forced on at this time, and that the dreaded Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn has denounced the Supreme Court decision in a Griswold versus Connecticut, which covers the use of contraceptives for married couples under the constitutional right to privacy. Blackburn says Griswold is constitutionally unsound, not the only unnerving position. When Republican candidates for Michigan Attorney General were asked about Griswold in a debate earlier this year, they didn't seem to know what it was about. One pulled out a mobile device to look it up while another complained, I don't know, we could have our phones up here. Anyhow, the question is whether the states are able to ban abortion will march further into anti-birth control territory. There's bound to be a next step. The many, many activists who have focused their political careers on constraining women's sexual activity aren't going to just declare victory and go home. In Louisiana, lawmakers are considering a proposal to classify ending a pregnancy at any point from the moment of fertilization as homicide. Oh, that's nuts. In the Idaho state legislature may hold hearings on outlawing emergency contraceptives. That would be like the Plan B pill. A reminder that when we're talking about states' rights, we should think about trusting your fate to a room full of state legislators. All this is basically about punishing women who want to have sex for pleasure. That does suck, yeah. It's a concept with a long tradition in American history. Back in 1873, Congress began to pass a series of laws prohibiting dissemination through the mail of birth control literature, drugs, or devices. Later, when a journalist asked Anthony Comstock, founder of the New York Commission on the Suppression of Vice, whether it would be all right for a woman to use contraceptives if pregnancy would endanger her life, Comstock snapped, can they not use self-control? Or must they sink to the level of beasts? Sorry, like... The shade is real. All right. Okay, the current debate is probably not going to get quite that far, but it's important to note that the policies we're talking about here are basically a matter of legislating the religious beliefs of one segment of the public, women. The goal of the Democratic Senate bill was mainly to get the public focused on reproductive rights issues before the fall elections, and certainly couldn't hurt. There have been voters out there who aren't all that geared up to about going to the polls, but who might be moved if they got to hear the speech by Republican Steve Daines of Montana that praised anti-abortion laws as being similar to the ones that protect the eggs of a sea turtle or the eggs of eagles. Eagles' rights. Those sea turtles have been coming up a lot in this debate. Republican James Lanford of Oklahoma, in a long, emotional speech, recounted a confrontation with an abortion rights demonstrator who pointed out that there was a difference between laws protecting a woman's right to choose and laws protecting endangered species. If we can't see that difference, I don't even know if we should be having this debate. That's hella crazy. And I'm called an extremist, Lanford declared. He added, if people call me a radical for believing children are valuable, so be it. Actually, people call Langford a radical for believing that the reproductive experiences of female water-dwelling reptiles are comparable to the experiences of human beings, right, whose offspring will need and deserve many years of constant care in order to prosper. That's such a good point. It's just to raise kids, to raise human children, especially in American society, it just requires so much care and so much effort and so much money. And like, I'm not, America, in terms of like the quality of people we are producing, we're not really producing good, useful people in the society. So like, I mean, what's the point? Like, why do we continue to have, some people should have been aborted. I don't know another way to say that.